This is the Lime Flavored Network. This show is brought to you by Tricia's Bakery at triciasbakery.com.
Welcome to Limelight on Apple, episode 10, being recorded and broadcast live on 24th of April, 2013. I'm DJ Allen.
I'm Tricia Allen.
And as you can see, we are once again at two different locations like we used to be. And I'm at home.
We're technically further apart now.
Yes, and Tricia is at work.
Yes, I am.
The boss must be very upset that you're doing this.
Yeah, very.
Why don't you tell everybody who the boss is?
Well, the boss is me.
Okay. Well, the reason the thing we want to start out with tonight is something that's fairly close physically to where you're at right now, and I want you, Tricia, to give us a little rundown about the scoop that's been going on since 2 days ago.
Oh.
1 day.
I thought that was going to be our end story.
Oh no, we're gonna lead with it.
Oh, okay. I guess so.
Surprise!
Yeah, really, surprise. Well, I guess unless you've been completely off of Facebook and the TV, Twitter, internet, and everything else, you may not know about the story, although we might be oversaturated because we are so close to it. The big news is that a anchor on a TV show, a news show, kind of let some words slip out on his first night of broadcasting a weekend show. It's on our local KFYR NBC. Aw. Phone call. It's not important. It's a telemarketer.
Okay.
Should let the staff answer the phone while I'm busy. Oh, wait, I am the staff.
That's right. Anyway.
Yeah, so anyways, the guy was a local news anchor on a NBC affiliate in Bismarck here called KFYR, and his name is AJ Clemente. He was fired, and as you can see, you can kind of make out what he basically said while he was live on air. The issue that they said was that he didn't realize his mic was live, and I guess the more the story comes out, the more you hear things like he didn't realize his mic was live because they weren't supposed to go live for another 30 seconds. He didn't have one of those little earpieces in, so he couldn't, hear that they were live, and there's nobody in studio to count down to tell him they're live. So I guess depending on who you listen to, it seems like A, he was not prepared for the job, and B, the job is not very prepared to broadcast news.
And the thing that I see and have heard of all over the place getting reported is that it was his first day on the job. That is not true. It was his first day as the anchor. He has been on the news at least 3 other times that I have physically witnessed. 3 other times he's been on the news. They were just introducing them.
Right. He would do stories, like he would be on site doing local stories on the news, but he was not in an anchor chair position before that evening, I believe, is how it worked.
Yeah. That's how I think. But yeah, the reports are actually saying that it was his first day on the job, and that's just not true.
Right, yeah, like that was the first time he ever opened his mouth on live TV, which, was completely inaccurate. But nobody's making a move to correct that, as far as I've seen out of him. Just today alone, I've seen him on the Today Show. They talked about him on the Today Show in a couple segments. Apparently David Letterman was talking about him last night, and he will be on the David Letterman show tonight. He was talking to Tom Brokaw on the news this morning. Hoda and Kathy Lee were talking about it. And we also have a local CBS affiliate, I guess referred to as KX News, KXMB or something like that.
I don't know. Well, they call them, it's kxnet.com is their website.
And on Facebook, they're listed as KX News. KX News even posted today and said that he is going to be on David Letterman tonight. And a person commented on that post and said, just by posting this, you as KX News has already talked more about AJ Clemente than the KFYR News has. And it's totally accurate. It's really funny to watch, I guess, the beratement of KFYR. If you go to their Facebook page, basically there's comments posted on every story they post on Facebook related to AJ. And they're just getting hammered constantly, which, again, I find pretty funny. But they're not reporting it. They are the story, which is their problem, is that they're being laughed at, not laughed with.
And like you said earlier, I'm going to steal this line from you. They're not doing anything about it because they're the butt of the joke.
Yes, that's very accurate. They are the butt of the joke. They're looking less and less prepared and like horrible people for firing the guy.
And it's going to be bad for them for a while before they recover from this. But they're still miles above the KX News team.
I do agree. I can't watch the local KX News. I have a really hard time watching them. The anchors, most of them in Bismarck do seem, or with KFYR, seem a little bit more on top of knowing how to speak, I guess.
So much so that they just swear whenever they want.
Right. Yeah, so it's been pretty funny. The local station is actually, I guess, kind of like you said at the beginning, it's a half block away from my store. I can walk over to my door and I can see it out of my window. So, and just like when NBC let Conan O'Brien go, and that was a big controversy, I had posters in my window that said I'm with Conan, and it was always funny to see that a half block away from our local NBC affiliate, and a lot of people wanted to buy posters from me, but I just printed them for myself. So it's kind of funny to be that close to the controversy, because every time I look out there I kind of laugh.
Yeah. We wanted to cover that. I talked a little bit about it on the Lime Flavored show on Monday, and I wanted to cover it here because it's really exploded since then. So,
yeah, there was. It has gone from the first night it happened. We didn't actually watch the news, and I couldn't even find that broadcast. It's like NB or KFYR didn't want to even post it on their sync back program. Or maybe they just don't post their weekend shows, one of the two. I'm not sure. But yeah, he had a page with KFYR on Facebook of his own, and he had a couple hundred fans, and I think by the end of the night he had something around 1,200 or so. And then the next day after they fired him, originally they said he was suspended, then they apparently fired him overnight. The page was gone. He said this morning on TV that he didn't even realize that it had happened until the third segment of the newscast, when the director or whoever came out and told him what had happened at the beginning, which I guess really makes him look even more inexperienced at the beginning of that broadcast, because he was a deer in headlights. You'll find it. You'll find the video everywhere. Just go out and look up the guy's name. I believe what is his hashtag on Twitter? I think it's like free AJ.
Oh, I don't do much of Twitter personally.
I don't either. I just see it on a lot of posts on the KFYR page. So, anyways, that's our local claim to fame.
Yay, we're national. Woo!
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get into our first actual technical topic, which we can talk about the Firefox OS launching.
I think it's the first Firefox OS phone, I believe, is what the situation is. I'm bringing up the story here.
Okay.
Geek's Phone, which must be the manufacturer, sold out their handsets on the first day, which, I don't know, it basically it amounts to 1,000 phones, which is a pretty small number. But, technically that is sold out then. They said that they've produced about 10,000 phones, but they have some reserved for the developers, basically. So they must have sold the other 1,000 to just regular, everyday people somehow. I'm not even sure what carrier they're on. I guess I haven't found any of that information in the story. But it says that there are two different phones, the Keon and the Peak, and they start at $119, and they are unlocked.
I wonder if because they're unlocked, maybe that means that you can take them anywhere.
That is possible. Who is selling them? Like, who is physically selling the phone to a person?
That's
I mean, that's kind of where I'm confused, unless it's that Geek's Phone specifically.
According to the story that you just showed, it's the only thing that I can tell is that it has to be direct from Geek's Phone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It does, and it does sound like in the future that there are going to be other manufacturers making Firefox OS phones. It lists here Sony, LG, and Huawei. Huawei.
That's Huawei.
Huawei? Okay.
I believe so. Because Huawei. I needed to see it because some of the tech shows we watch, they talk about Huawei a lot too, and it's pronounced Huawei.
Yeah, I've probably never seen it written down.
Yeah, I need to write that down. It's Huawei. Okay, so and Firefox OS is one of those alternative phone OSs that I was going to include in my phone-based racing league idea that nothing's happened with it because I've gotten absolutely no feedback about it. But along with iOS and Android and BlackBerry, now you've got Firefox OS, and you've also got Ubuntu, which is also working on coming out to a phone working system, but they're not ready to launch yet. So there's going to be options. They're just those smaller options are not big enough yet to make a dent. 1,000 phones is a sellout. Yeah.
Well, options are good. The problem is always going to be the market of apps. If you have one of these new operating systems on your phone, I guess it either better come with a whole lot already preloaded, or you're going to have to get those developers out there working on apps and add-ons and everything. I know that's a big point when I shop for a phone is making sure that the apps that I need work on the phone that I get.
Well, they might be going the route with like Chromebooks, whereas there's no apps on Chromebooks. It's all just browser based. So if Firefox is doing the same thing, maybe they don't need apps. Maybe they've got it all taken care of with the browser.
Well, it says that they're going to have a web-centric platform that relies heavily on HTML5.
That's exactly what they're doing. This is a Chromebook for your phone, is what it is.
Well, then I guess as long as you've always got a signal, you're good.
Well, or you've got solid data, because everything's going to go through a browser except for maybe the specific call functioning and possibly the messaging. But it's a Chromebook for your phone.
Though there's a lot of noise outside. It sounds like things are falling over. It's like 50-mile-an-hour wind. So.
Well, that's why I keep turning around.
Oh, because of our
we got a serious rattle going on, and it's worse because it's loose. So.
Yeah, and I have construction going on beside me, and there's things flying through the air every once in a while that are getting picked up by the wind.
Yes. Well, something we talked about in the past, and we have a story on now, is that WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference that Apple holds annually, will be commencing on June 10th and running through June 14th at the Moscone West in San Francisco, which I think is not on the Apple campus. I think that's separate. But they're not being shy about telling us what's going to happen at WWDC this year, apparently. So there's going to be brand new versions of both iOS and OS X, which means OS X Grumpy Cat will be revealed to the world.
Grumpy Cat. Yay.
I don't know that's what they're calling it, but that's what I would want to call it. The thing everybody wants to hear is them calling it Sabretooth, but then you've got, is Apple getting long in the tooth? Ha ha ha.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, but they'll be rolling that out, and then of course there'll be the one big keynote that we get to see that'll come through the iTunes feed that we can watch. Tim Cook basically tell us about all this new stuff, and then we will be torturously forced to wait months and months and months until I get to play with OS X 10.9, I think it is, and iOS 7 or iOS X. Or whatever they're calling it. I don't know.
There's a kitty. Be a kitty by the episode number. I see Lennon on the screen.
Oh yeah, he jumped up.
Also known as OS X Grumpy Cat.
OS X Grumpy Cat. Yes. But so WWDC is going to be running that 4 days in June, and while I'm not a developer, I do like seeing it because of the keynote that lets me know what's coming.
And it says here that the tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. They pre-announced their ticket sales, and they're saying that last year tickets sold out in under 2 hours.
Maybe this year limeflavored.com should send 2 of its tech reporters to WWDC.
That is a great idea.
Oh, we're the only 2 tech reporters? Well, I guess that we'll just have to go on a vacation in San Francisco.
Yay!
Because I've never been there either.
I've never been that direction in general.
We're changing that, folks. We are changing that fast.
No, because the next 2 trips that we go on are to the east again.
Yes, but I'm trying to get you out into the world.
I see.
Yes.
All right.
Our next story is basically just as cryptic because it relies on someone telling us something at a more major announcement, which is... Oh yeah, let's pop that up here. Which is the next Xbox will be revealed on May 21st. Which is to say, we've got a product and we're not going to show you anything about it until May 21st. And even then, it's only going to be the briefest of glimpses because what they want to do is wait until E3, like Sony is going to do with their PlayStation 4 announcement. So we're going to get, hey, this is what it's probably going to be able to do, and this is kind of what it'll look like, but we're going to get into the details at E3. And the reason we're reporting it here is it's significant because not only is it a game console, but they're turning it into an entertainment center. It's got a virtual world. It's got your apps. It's a media center. It's got all kinds of stuff going on.
Boy, you read the article, huh?
Well, I mean, it also helps that some of the shows I listen to talk endlessly about this thing. The one drawback that I have always had with Xbox is PlayStation, for instance. We got PlayStation initially because the PlayStation 3 because of the Blu-ray player, and Xbox didn't have that. But the other drawback for me was that Xbox, in order to use all their live connectivity functions, you have to have a paid subscription. And nobody else requires that. I mean, like Netflix has a paid subscription, but I don't have to pay to be subscribed to Xbox and then pay to subscribe to Netflix at that point. So that's two subscriptions, and I don't personally get. Oh, go ahead.
Technically, it's 3 because you also have to subscribe to the internet.
Ah, there you go. So that's 3 subscriptions. I don't game enough to justify buying an Xbox. And I wouldn't get the Xbox subscription just to have the other stuff. Now, I know there are people out there that will probably do that, but I personally don't want to be... If I'm going to flush money down the toilet, I'm going to flush it down the toilet on stuff I genuinely am entertained by, which is like comic books or something.
Good plan. Solid plan.
But I just said I'm not going to flush it down the toilet, and we have no reason to have an Xbox. We've got a PlayStation 3. We will more than likely, especially if there's a Final Fantasy coming with it, a PlayStation 4. But I mean, until the PlayStation 3 really stops working correctly, I don't see us even getting a 4 because I'm not gaming at all, and you're not either.
We just got a new 3.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't see the 4 coming out this year anyway, but I mean, we're not going to have a reason to upgrade until there's a game like Final Fantasy, which we both enjoy, that comes out for it that requires us to have a 4.
Speaking of, we should get back into playing Final Fantasy since we're downstairs by the PS3 every night.
And finish off 13, which I believe is the one that we're on.
Nothing is more difficult than trying to run around in a virtual world while trying to walk on a treadmill.
Yes.
It is very tough.
All right. Moving on.
Okay. The next story, it's not huge or exciting or anything, but it's basically a new case and keyboard that was just announced for the iPad. It was announced yesterday by Logitech, called the Fabric Skin Keyboard Folio. And I guess the couple bonuses to this is that it will cover your iPad both front and back, and it also has a keyboard on the fabric itself. So I wouldn't think that the keys are going to be very raised. At this point, you can pre-order this case for $150. It says because the case is so thin, there's a depth of just 20 millimeters. So their big selling point is the fact that it's going to be thin. I don't know how easy it would be to type on. And I wonder if they came out with this as a response to the keyboard type case that you get with a Microsoft Surface.
Well, I guarantee it's that response. But since it covers the whole thing, front and back, would you say that it covers your iButt?
Yes. I forgot my case, or I think I forgot my iPad at, yeah, it's not in my bag. I forgot my iPad at home today, but I have a case that covers both the front and the back, and it's thin because it's just leather. It doesn't have a keyboard on it, but the great thing was I got it on sale for like $12. We also have, and you might have yours handy, the keyboard. No. The keyboard cases for our iPads that you slip the iPad into it, and it has a.
I thought it was still downstairs. Go ahead, and I will. Wait, let me shut my lower third off, and I'll demonstrate. So.
Okay, so yeah, our keyboard cases have an actual hard keyboard on them that Bluetooth connects. Check out Vanna and her display of the keyboard case there.
And this is how I would set it up if I wanted to type on it. So I mean, you switched from using the case like this to using your new case because you don't type as much on yours as I do, and I'm trying to. I do want a laptop again, but I'm trying to not want a laptop by using the iPad more as a laptop because the laptop I have, the only reason it doesn't work is because the battery is popping out of it.
I wasn't typing on my iPad as much, and so I switched to the other case because it was lighter, and because I like the angle that the iPad sits at better. It's the keyboard case is nice, but it's kind of floppy. I guess I can never get the iPad sitting up at the right angle that I need because I work at a really high table, and so the angle is important to me. I think my absolute favorite would probably be a case that the keyboard was in a shell, and granted it wouldn't cover the back of the iPad, but I wouldn't mind. But I think that would be my ultimate favorite case, would just be the shell that connected to it. I suppose I probably would like this fabric case, considering I really like my pink leather case now, because it would come with a keyboard. I wonder a couple things. Does the keyboard have to be charged? Is it Bluetooth? Or does the iPad plug into the case itself to work the keyboard and, power it? I don't know.
There are all the particulars, but it would be something I'd be willing to try.
Not for $150.
No. If we went somewhere and they had one, I would test it out, and if it would work the way I hope it would work, then I would be willing to switch, because while my case is perfectly fine, it's really thick. I mean, I've got it's a chunk of an iPad here.
Yeah, that is the one reason why I switched, is because the keyboard case that we have is so large and heavy. That it was just so much easier to use the smaller case, and like I said, the angle it sits at is better. But I agree. I think it would be it's a neat idea, but for $150, I think that's a little bit overpriced. It also said it would come in colors, but I don't believe any of the colors listed were colors I wanted. They said like red, black, blue, and yellow. So they have to have pink or purple to sell me on it.
And green for me.
Right, and green for you. And what was the other? Oh, I know that one of the comments that I read here was that it's more expensive than the Surface Touch cover. You're overpriced when Microsoft Surface line has something cheaper. One of the comments on that story. So,
yeah. Okay, well, our next our next two stories. One is going to be extremely short, and the other one is going to be only slightly longer. Apple celebrates the 10th anniversary of iTunes. So iTunes started in 2003, and it's 2013. If you can add or subtract in that case, that would be 10 years.
On April 28th, specifically.
And while I have no problems with iTunes, and I'm sure there's millions of others that have no problem with iTunes, you hate iTunes.
I do. I absolutely hate iTunes.
But I'm completely bought into the ecosystem here.
When I need to do something that is related to iTunes with my phone, I usually have you do it. Like making me a ringtone or something. I won't do anything like that because I do not want to use iTunes. I could try to use it more often now that I've found that I can AirPlay from my Windows laptop to an Apple TV through iTunes. But yeah, other than that, I don't enjoy using iTunes ever for any reason.
It's not for everybody. It's for me, but it's not for everybody.
I enjoy iDevices. I do not enjoy iTunes.
Yeah. And the last story. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to sneeze.
The last story is that Tim Cook is auctioning off a coffee date with him at the Apple headquarters, and the proceeds are going to go to charity.
As part of the story, part of the story, other such things as like appearing with Johnny Depp or hanging out with Bill Clinton. Johnny Depp, somebody paid $91,000 for a chance to appear alongside him in the Public Enemies movie. We didn't see that, so I don't know about that. And
it was a non-speaking role, it says also.
And a record-breaking $255,000 to hang out with Bill Clinton, which for a day, which basically at that point is either somebody really got nutso and just sunk their entire life savings into that, or it's some obnoxiously rich guy who probably was going to hang out with him that day anyway.
Well, you know, all of these things are just for rich people because they're estimating the Apple meetup at a value of $50,000. It does say that it's valid for 2 people and will last approximately 30 minutes to an hour. The winning bidder is going to be subject to security screenings, and you cannot resell or re-auction your winnings. The proceeds will benefit the RFK Center for Justice and Human Rights.
And I am 99% sure that there will be no topics about what's coming up for Apple or what kind of things are on the back burner. So basically, you're sitting around with an overpriced ticket to hang out with an overpaid CEO.
And probably drink bad coffee.
Yeah, the coffee's probably rotten, or it's Starbucks and it's only slightly above rotten then.
Maybe I'll get to like take home an Apple mug.
Oh, an iMug. There we go.
An iMug, yes, an iMug.
What if that iMug gave you text messages and you could make calls with it?
That would be amazing, but only if you can wear it on your wrist.
I would want to put it right on my head right here. and imagine trying, you know, you're holding, I don't have a cup that I can use that I would spill here. Let's imagine you're holding this mug in your hand, and then this is the top where the coffee's at. Yeah. And then you go to answer it, and you tip the coffee into your ear. That would hurt. It's hot.
Or you tip it, like, over your back.
There you go. That makes sense, too.
Right.
We've just invented and destroyed the iMug in one short conversation. Well, normally... Well, not normally. We have in the past had apps of the week, and neither of us has an app that we would like to discuss. So I would like to talk about briefly my wonderful battery pack that I have with my iPhone now.
I think you can grab mine. Mine is on my computer. I have it plugged in on the right side. You might as well just get up and pick it up. Yeah, we both have cases, and I have another case here somewhere at work too. Here it is. I bought us cases for our phones where the case is actually a battery.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave yours. Wait, there's a yellow one for my phone too?
No, well, sort of. There's a yellow one for my old iPhone 4.
Oh, yeah, I was going to leave it plugged into yours, by the way. So, yeah, that's I got a little plug-in in the bottom, and it tells me how many lights, or, how much battery I have. This is fully charged because I haven't switched to it yet because I barely used the phone today. Well, I say as I have 40% battery left. But when I switch it on the bottom, there's a little on-off switch. It'll start charging the phone. So basically, this is awesome. So I've recently started having problems with my phone charge because I listen to things almost all day. So I'm using my phone constantly, and if I get messages from Tricia there, I'm also checking my phone. So my screen's constantly on too. So basically, what I'm looking at is my battery's being drained well before it should because I'm using it so much. So now that I have an extra battery pack, I can go literally all day. I could probably use this from well before sun up to well after sundown.
And we haven't used the cases to charge our phones often yet because I just barely got these. I basically got these cases so that when we go on our couple of trips coming up, that we have enough power to run our phones to take pictures and to be using maps and everything while I'm out exploring and your meetings.
Well, and I'll need it too because my phone in the conference that I'll be in is constantly searching for a signal, so my battery was just skydiving downwards every day because I would have to literally shut it off to get it to stop searching for a signal because the signal in the hotel is terrible.
Yeah, I do remember you having that problem last year. You would say that you'd get done with the conference, and then when you were done and ready to go out and explore, your battery would be dead. So, yeah, these will be really useful. But, yeah, the couple that we were holding up was for the iPhone 4 or 4S. I asked him to show the 5, but he's not going to. The iPhone 5 case, basically, it doesn't have a top to it. It just has a little... Oh, go ahead.
I was trying to pull it apart, and it has a little attachment top to it, so it stays on. But not that the phone's going to fall out either. And
with the iPhone 5, it's more, it has no sides or top to it. It's just a back, and it's got a little clip at the top, and it clips to the top of your phone and holds it in there. The odd thing is that you charge the case with a micro USB port. I guess to me it seems like it would make more sense to charge for the iPhone 4 with the 30-pin Apple connector and charge the case for the iPhone 5 with a Lightning connector. So I don't know if maybe other companies that make these cases do something more along that line, because now if you think about it, if you want to charge your case, you need micro USB cords, and then if you want to charge your phone, you need Apple cords. So it seems kind of, I guess, not very handy. And I also ordered something off the internet today that we're going to try in the future. It's a solar charger. It has solar panels on it. And like I said, initially the reviews say that it's only supposed to charge micro and mini USB connecting devices, but then in the longer description it says that it also works with iDevices. For the most part, the output is a standard USB, so if you have a Apple cord, it should work. one of the reviews on a similar product says they could not get an iPhone 3GS to charge off of it. But I figured at the very least, you can use it to charge these cases through the mini USB or micro USB, and then you can use the case to charge your phone. So we'll be giving that a try too. I ordered these cases off of the NBC Jill's Steals and Deals. And I ordered them back at the beginning of March. We didn't get the cases till almost the middle of April. It took forever to get them, but I think they were $80 a piece roughly, and I got them for $20 each.
And they're great. So basically, the case itself holds a charge enough to.
You can completely recharge your phone.
So it's basically you got twice the battery life for one device now. So, but that's really all we have for an app of our time here. I'm sorry we recorded early, but it's like I keep saying on every show, it's really hard. I mean, the 7 o'clock, even though it's as early as I can get off most weeks, it's so hard to get things running in the right direction. We decided to do it earlier tonight, so live with it.
We've got to get the recording done when we can. I think that's got to be the bottom line for us, is that it has to work. It has to work for us. If these shows don't work for you to record them, then there's no point in having them.
Right, which is why I was exploring the idea of doing them all in one shot on one day, so you could sit down and just watch my beautiful face for 4 hours or whatever.
I don't know. I have to do that quite often. I don't know if I do that when I didn't have to.
But you're different than everybody else. So.
Although I guess I am taking time out of my day away from the house at work to talk to you.
Yes, you are.
Well, it is our 15th anniversary very soon anyway, so I guess I must like being around you in some capacity.
Yes, and I can say officially that this is my longest marriage ever.
Well, good for you. It's my longest marriage too.
Yeah, this beat out my previous marriage by 12 years. Just barely, though. Because 12 years is a small gap. Anyway, let's not talk about bad things like that. I want to thank Tricia for joining me here at work. We get a little view of the bakery back there, the actual physical store. And we will be back next week, which should be May 1st, May Day. And this weekend, on Friday, I will have a guest for the greatest show online with Bob and myself.
At least you hope.
Yes. Well, he's been fairly reliable as long as he knows ahead of time, and he knows. He's the one that suggested it, so we should have a guest. If not, you'll still get Bob and I, because we're there. And then the lime-flavored show on Monday will just be released on Monday. It's going to be pre-recorded and pre-produced. So sorry about not doing live, but it's just like I said before, there's just too much going on. I can't keep up 3 live shows every week.
And unless recording these shows was your actual full-time paying job, you have to fit them in where you can.
If people want to send us money, I will certainly back off work and do this if the income is enough, because then I can start doing studio and doing all kinds of neat other stuff like that too. But I would start needing donations now.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining me, Tricia. Is there anything you want to talk about?
No, I think I've pretty much got all my topics covered that I found.
Okay. Well, you can find all of our links and stuff to the YouTube channel and all our Facebook stuff on limeflavored.com. And there was no live viewers because I assume just because we dropped this at the drop of a hat. So sorry about that. But those of you watching in post, you know where to find us already, hopefully, because you're watching it on YouTube. And we'll be back next week. So say goodbye, Tricia.
Goodbye.
Bye. And we're done.